Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back for another Premier League Gazette Mondays where we get the newspapers, go through all of them and see just what's going on in the world of the Premier League. And we were hoping this show would all be about the weekend's action, all the goals, all the talking points, who's been an absolute wally, who's been amazing and all that stuff. But ever since we started the Premier League Gazette, we've had about 2 weekends of football and the rest of it has been speaking about when this lockdown's going to end and when the Premier League football is finally going to return. Now we're hoping it might be in a month's time. Obviously the players are in phase 1 of Project Restart at the moment. They're going to be cranking that up very soon, and with an expectation of playing football at some point in June and going through those phases and being ready for that. Will that happen? Will that go ahead? Who knows? But we'll obviously find out here, and we'll be discussing so much more on AdamMcKola TV and on the Premier League Gazette and with these newspapers, going through all of them. I've got a cup of coffee, hope you have got yours in hand, and we're going to go through these tabloids so you don't have to. Right then, first up we got the Daily Mirror, and on the back we've got Andros Townsend saying don't cheat the lockdown, a message to his fellow professionals in the Premier League saying players must behave and not let teammates down. Now we're moving closer to full contact in training. Andros Townsend says Premier League stars risk derailing the Project Restart if they flout lockdown rules. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Kyle Walker, Jack Grealish, Serge Aurier have all broken government coronavirus guidelines recently, as have the government themselves. And Crystal Palace winger Townsend fears the plan to return to contact training by the end of the week, ahead of a June return, could be put in jeopardy by any top flight rebels. Phase 1 was about the clubs proving to us that they could provide a safe workplace, and they have more than done that. In phase 2, you've got to start looking at your teammates. So let's go on inside here, because if there is a spike in testing, it could be because one of them has not respected the guidelines. I'm sure senior players and management will explain how important it is to stick to them. The Premier League will talk to senior players again tomorrow before clubs vote 24 hours later on whether to move to contact phase of training. Troy Deeney and N'Golo Kante are refusing, but Townsend said hopefully with the latest rounds of tests, a few of those players who were not confident enough to return can get back to training. When you first return to training, you're nervous, but as the training days were going on, we got more comfortable with the surroundings. The back end of next week will be the big test. Now here's a few stats that Project Restart has compiled. The Premier League have now conducted 1,744 coronavirus tests. There have been 8 positive results, 6 in the first wave of testing and 2 in the second wave of testing. 3 positive results were at Watford. A Bournemouth first team player is one of the 2 who tested positive in the second wave. 1,014 players and club staff from all 24 Championship clubs have also been tested, and 2 tested positive, both at Hull City. So that's the latest on Project Restart and where we're at. They're currently gearing up to go into phase 2, which is a contact training. So we'll see how they get on in terms of that. Now I've turned that page there because the rest of that page is about Liverpool European Finals Day 1 and looking back at their legendary nights. Who wants to see that? But inside, we've got how bored they are, because I'm pretty sure they spoke about this article and this story again before. Fergie's push and Becks. I'm talking about Fergie kicking a boot at David Beckham, and this week they've got Mikael Silvestra's comments on it all, but he does defend the manager, saying he didn't only rule with fear in his hairdryer, he very rarely used that, he just used it when he had to. But on the Beckham thing, he says, I was there, everyone was shocked, but things like this happen in dressing rooms. It was a random kick by the boss. It was unfortunate that the boot went straight into Beckham's face. He was angry and we had to intervene to prevent a confrontation, but that was at the end of it then. Still, it impacted their relationship and was probably among the reasons why David left that summer and signed for Real Madrid. Something that broke my heart in about 10 little pieces. The hairdryer treatment wasn't a big thing, said Silvestre, speaking to 442. Other managers do it as well. With him, it was famous, but it wasn't his main style. And you're never going to get success by just being angry all the time or just bollocking your players. It just doesn't make sense. Now, I wanted to bring your attention to something here that continues inside. Zoom with a view for Hammers fans. They want to put fans on screens via Zoom. West Ham West Ham fans. Can you imagine that? West Ham losing 3-0 and all their fans throwing their season tickets at their laptops. That's going to be a hilarious sight. Moving on to the Daily Express, and we got those bellends on the front cover, and on the back we got "Don't Let the Side Down" from Andros Townsend yet again. As you can see, it is a very, very quiet news day. It's all about Andros Townsend's quote on Project Restart and the players not letting the team down. Hammers have that screen dream though, which is funny. West Ham fans are in talks with the club about having their faces beamed onto the London Stadium's big screens to boost the players during their games. When have West Ham fans ever boosted their players? The Hammers, along with several clubs, have rejected the idea of having cardboard cutouts, thank God, which have been used in other countries when football starts again. But now a group of technically minded Hammers fans, technically minded? Everyone's mom and dog are using Zoom at the moment, have come up with the idea of showing their faces on the screens as a Zoom conference to at least provide some atmosphere. The delays and all those things, how's that going to work? Many people have been using Zoom, a video communications internet platform, to hold meetings, parties and quizzes in lockdown. Hammers season ticket holder Nigel Khan said, "Football without fans is nothing, so why not bring as many possible into the stadium for players to see on the big screens? We could show the players support even from home." West Ham, eh? West Ham. More about Liverpool's past Champions League success for some reason. More about David Beckham getting a boot in his head for some reason. Well, I know what the reason is. Everyone's fucking scraping the barrel for news at the moment. Reds loss gave me satisfaction, Wenger says. He admits he's glad Liverpool can't match his unbeaten Arsenal Invincibles run. Arsene Wenger has admitted he will never go back to the Emirates to watch his beloved Arsenal. The Frenchman, right, who has been out of football management since leaving the Gunners, is now FIFA's head of global development. He's ruled out a return to his old club, but said he had been delighted by Liverpool's defeat at Watford, which meant they could not emulate the feat of his Arsenal Invincibles, who went through the whole season invincible. He said, "Would I return to the Emirates Stadium? I always said that to myself, that I would be leaving Arsenal completely. That's the decision I made. I managed the club for 1,235 games. I've had good and bad times there, but we always tried to defend the club's values, and I think we managed to do it." He went on to say, yes, it was a form of satisfaction when asked about Jurgen Klopp's defeat against Watford. We always like to be the only ones to achieve something. Liverpool really could go all the way, but it shows that it's difficult to repeat that feat. That day I had a lot of messages from Arsenal supporters, said Arsene Wenger. And you would do, wouldn't you? You'd want your record to stand, wouldn't you? I know it's Arsenal and Arsene Wenger and we're famed to hate them, but I have a little bit of a soft spot for Arsenal now. I mean, not Arsenal. I fucking hate Arsenal. But Arsene, look, I hated him when we had that rivalry. But you've got to say he brought the best out of Fergie and United at that period in time. And I think he probably, with that Arsenal team, pushed us on to winning the treble. We were kept so sharp in the Premier League week in, week out. We were primed for battle every single week. That team was phenomenal. We beat some great teams in the Premier League along the way. But yeah, and we were all happy to see Liverpool lose, aren't we? Every single time. We got The Guardian here. Players can opt out of contact training with no pressure. So that's a story in relation to Project Restart, Phase 2. Elite athletes must be given the ability to opt out, return to contact training, according to new advice from the government that paves the way for the return of the Premier League. The DCMS, the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport, has republished the second stage of its return to training guidance for elite athletes. The COVID-19 guidelines all sports must follow if they aim to return to competition behind closed doors, should circumstances allow, after 1st June. Earlier, Bournemouth announced one of 2 positive COVID-19 tests from the Premier League's second phase of screening is a player from their squad, while Hall confirmed 2 people from the club have tested positive. It's just really going on from what we've read about Project Restart already, and the hopes that they have, and players being able to opt out if they want to. You got something here in relation to Joe Hart wanting to get back. All I want is to be a big part of something. Hope burns through me. You might want to stop chucking it in your own net then, you great big passion merchant. And apart from that, there's a little bit here on Timo Werner scoring a hat-trick against Mainz for RB Leipzig. What did you make of that? But apart from that, not a lot going on in the Guardian. As we said, it's a quiet news day. But we have got those updates on Project Restart, and we'll be getting more as the week goes on, as we edge closer to what could be a Premier League return in about 2 to 3 weeks' time. Because we could be possibly be finally discussing football on here, the Premier League Gazette. Fingers crossed. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're keeping it locked, you're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, and you're subscribing. And for now, I have been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.